very nice to see so many fellow pirates in these waters. So, as Martin already mentioned, my name is Vladyslav. You're very welcome to call me Vlad. And I'm here on the captain's orders to tell you about Pirates of the cAIbbean. And you might be thinking, is he having a stroke? Yeah? No. What in the seven seas is cAIbbean? It's a play on words, Caribbean as a sea, and AI, and also a play on a German word for artificial intelligence, künstliche Intelligenz. So it kind of sounds like, KI, AI. So now that we know what it is about, how about you give me your best Arrr, the pirates. Arrr, great. Who wants to go for lunch? Arrr. Okay, I try. Sorry? So, I try to do my best so that you all go for lunch on time. So, let me go to the next slide. So, who is this pirate? Like, very briefly, Martin already mentioned, I'm a director of IT security engineering at About You. I come from Ukraine. I like scuba diving, which is a perfect hobby for a modern-day pirate. Yeah, one of the most fun facts about me is that I sang on stage with the Eurovision winners last year. And I am at code.talks every year since 2019, apart from the COVID years when it didn't happen. So I have a long history being sometimes a speaker, sometimes a curator, also a curator this year. Last year we did a workshop with my colleague. So I really like this conference, as you can imagine. All right. So what are the captain's orders for today? In other words, agenda. We will talk about the goals, the treasure at the end of the voyage, our tools, me-chested tricks. We will have a demo, the proof of our prowess, and conclusions, where the tide leaves us. Without further ado, let's talk about the treasure at the end. So what is actually the goal? Imagine you're running a pirate ship. You're a captain, and your hull is leaking. Maybe a vulnerability, right, for the ship. So you take one of the crew members, yeah, and you go to the hull, you teach the crew member, hey, this is how you fix the hull, and then everything is fine, the ship goes forward, and then after some time, it starts leaking again. You go to the same crew member, and that barnacle brain is dead drunk with grog, so you have to take another one and teach them all over again. Doesn't sound too good, does it? And I see the same in the company where I work, the sort of life cycle of a vulnerability. Somebody finds it, we report it, it goes to the management, it's prioritized, it goes to a developer fixes it, great, it's forgotten. Yeah, a vulnerability happened and we only one developer learned how to fix it and maybe how to avoid it in the future. Maybe some more, maybe within a team. Yeah, but we're talking about hundreds of people there. So my idea was, how do we actually make sure that we, first of all, don't really overload developers with so many details of each vulnerability? And how do we make it easy to just spread this knowledge? A vulnerability happened and we just teach developers to avoid that vulnerability in the future based on the stuff that the company is receiving. Yeah? Because this is, I guess, one of the most important things. Because, I don't know, who's tired of the OWASP top 10 training, generic stuff? Yeah? I'm not tired of it, I love it. But it can be better, right? We can be better than that. So, that's basically the goal. And in this talk, it's not really a finished product, so don't take it with a grain of salt, but I just wanted to kind of explore this idea with you, how to achieve this. And this is a talk sort of, nerd to nerd, so don't hesitate to, get into it and give feedback. So let's talk about our tools. We're going to be using Claude Code. If the internet works well, I'll even show you a small demo, how it works. And we have several things in Claude, which is /commands, skills, sub-agents, hooks, and MCP servers. So let's get started. I will go very quickly through it. Slash command. Slash command is like a captain of the ship barking a command like hoist the mainsail. And everyone knows what to do. Yeah? But maybe you hear it for the first time. What the hell should I do? But that's what you basically define to Claude. You define a slash command and you describe what it needs to do. And you just then invoke it with a slash. Duh. Then you have skills. It's a very similar concept. You also define what needs to be done. It's just that in this case, Claude or your AI, whatever client that you're using, it will decide by itself when to use a specific skill or a specific prompt or instruction. Yeah, not you invoke it, but it decides by itself. We will see it later. Then we have sub-agents. And like on a pirate ship, of course, the captain runs the stage, controls everything, but every captain needs a second hand or the right hand. And this is exactly that. A sub-agent is something where, or someone, yeah, that you can delegate a task to. A sub-agent has its own context, its own instructions, and you can combine this very well with other things that you're doing. The hooks. I think you might be familiar with this. It's an event, yeah? So on a pirate ship, of course, there is a lookout sitting on a crow's nest, sees an enemy ship. Of course, that triggers an event. The crew needs to prepare for battle. And this is the same. An event happens, something triggers within Claude. And MCP servers. The best analogy I found is MCP server. It's like a trusty parrot on the shoulder of the captain, sitting. And the captain has very good training. But the captain, for example, doesn't know what's going on in the port where he or she wants to dock. So the captain sends the parrot. The parrot collects information from the port, yeah, comes back, tells the captain, here's what's going on in the port. So this is the same. MCP server just connects your AI client to some external source of data. So let's get into the demo. Let me first exit this. Navigate the weird alignment of screens. Okay, so then let's start. And something that I already mentioned, slash commands. Yeah, how do I use it in this case? I have a slash command to improve a prompt. What you might know from, or maybe you experienced it already with vibe coding, you need to be very, very specific about what it needs to do. Yeah, so what I did here, I defined a slash command that improves a prompt that I'm writing. So basically, I don't have to do this extensive prompt engineering. I will show you a prompt that I used to generate the website, and it's like 500 lines. So I can, of course. Okay. So the prompt to generate like a website that I'm going to show you is 500 lines. And it's very extensive. It describes what the website needs to do and so on. But there's no way I'm writing 500 lines by myself. I could then just go write an application. So basically, what this helps me with, this improve prompt slash command, yeah, it defines instructions how to write a good prompt. So I start with a general idea. I give it to this slash command. And then it gives me a more detailed prompt that I later adjust. So how does it work? What's a good prompt, right? With the prompts, I will go quickly through it. We define the context. We defined hard constraints. The tip I can give you is that not only define what your code should do, but what it must not do. And this really, really helps with the quality. Then we define the persona for our prompt, data schemas, then features, and so on and so forth. I unfortunately don't have enough time to show you all of this, but long story short, we run the prompt, what's next? And next, we have a website, yeah, that I want to show you. So it looks something like this. Maybe I go somewhere to the beginning. Basically, one thing is that I don't know JavaScript well enough to write something. I also don't know HTML well enough. And what's good about it, everything you will see, I haven't really edited a single line of code. It was just telling Claude AI what to do. So what I came up with is that we have 3 kinds of challenges that we will give to developers. One is a code snippet review, merge request review, and theoretical questions. Yeah? Let me show you a code snippet review challenge, like very quickly. There are some bugs, so sometimes I have to click this button to reset the progress. But basically, we ask a question, which implementation prevents cache poisoning? Yeah. And also another cool thing that I did here is showing which reports it's based on. So they can see which vulnerability actually triggered this question. And then let's say we choose an answer, click submit. I mean, honestly, it's pretty simple, right? But still, what I really liked is that it was super easy to make this. It took half a day to build all these features with just prompts. And the merge request thing and the merge request challenges, they're a bit different. Yeah, I need to click again, reset progress here. So a developer or a user of this website is shown like a, I don't know, it looks like a file, yeah, with code numbers and so on. And you need to identify in which lines does the vulnerability reside. So let's say we choose these 2. One is correct and one is not. So this is basically what it does. And this was kind of the beginning of what I wanted to do. And then next thing comes generating these challenges and making sure that they actually come from, let's say, vulnerability reports that were reported to the company. And this is where an MCP server comes into play. And to translate it to a normal language, yeah, in this case, it's just a Python file. That's it. So the AI client, the Claude, will be just calling this Python file. And you see there are several, like there are tools, MCP tools defined. And for example, this one, it lists HackerOne activity reports. These are the reports that are publicly disclosed on HackerOne. So I cannot show you what we get in our private bug bounty program, but for the sake of the demo, I still wanted to show something. What's important is to write good documentation, because then the AI agent, Claude, will decide which MCP tool to use to retrieve certain data. Yeah? Was this necessary, you might ask? I don't think so, to be honest. MCP servers are cool, but for example, I tried to connect an existing one, and then I see features like award bounties, delete reports, do this, do that, invite hackers, yeah, manage users. And I'm thinking, okay, this is way too scary. Yeah, I don't want to give some MCP server and the AI agent, which is kind of a black box for me. I don't want to give it any resource modifying permissions. And this is not something you can use out of the box in the MCP server. That's why I just wrote my own. For example, I really wanted to connect GitLab into this demo and the GitLab MCP server, but GitLab MCP server wants to take all API permissions of your current user. And I'm like, no, there is no way, I'm not doing that. So I didn't have the time to write a GitLab MCP server because everything I need is just to get a merge request or to get a file. And one issue with MCP servers I see now is that there's no granular control, so from the security standpoint. So you're kind of like, if you're really security-minded, and I think if you're anything-minded, yeah, you wouldn't want to give an untrusted system, yeah, or something not deterministic, you wouldn't want to give such high privileges. Okay, so MCP server. And now let's try to see whether it works or not. I will pull up my terminal. So basically, you see over here, maybe I zoom in again, I told Claude, hey, please fetch 10 critical reports from HackerOne activity. And it says, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then it says, hey, I'm going to use this tool with these input parameters. So the input parameters are actually coming from Claude. It decided which ones are appropriate according to my prompt, which is pretty cool. So it asks me, do you want to do this? I say yes. And now we pray that it works. Another point I wanted to make is that the only thing this MCP server does, it makes an API request, returns it back to Claude. And what you can do instead, like you can have a Python script, you can call it, provide all that data as context to your prompt. Yeah? But it just makes it more convenient to work from the terminal. So we have fetched all these reports now. So top 10, they are critical, they are resolved, super cool. Now let's try to generate a challenge from it. Let's say we take this random challenge, report ID, and we say generate a merge request challenge from the HackerOne report and use. So here I have a prompt for reviewing challenges, of course. It defines basically the constraints and how the challenges should be generated. So yeah, we give it some time. Hopefully it works out. But long story short, right? So let's give it a moment. And also for the sake of time, I will show you one of the challenges that were already generated. And challenges look more or less like this. Yeah, it's a JSON structure, and it just kind of the goal is that it pre-populates this file. I load these files into my application, then we can show these to developers. Let's see if it worked. Which typo? Oh. And it didn't understand it? I mean, it's a LLM, it should understand the typos, right? No, I think it did everything well, because you see, it's showing me, hey, I'm going to use this tool to get the report data, yeah, the details. So we're going to run this. One thing I noticed about Claude, it's a little slow. It's pretty good, but it's also because my prompts are really big. Yeah, the more you define for your AI what to do, the more it's going to be reasoning. And you see these tokens, yeah, like it's 2.6K. It's actually like quite a lot. And one of the challenges, if you want to then make it into like a continuous system, ingesting reports, generating challenges, blah, 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 you really have to find this balance between defining the task very, very clearly and not consuming a lot of API tokens. So it generated our challenge. So no, I demonstrate something. Okay, and is doing anything else? Okay, anyways, so we have to move forward, but we kind of generated the challenge. Another thing that I wanted to show you, I mentioned the skills, right? And one of the skills that I defined for Claude was reading or extracting stuff from PDFs. So, because sometimes, you know, pen test reports, they come as PDFs. And to my surprise, it also works pretty well. Yeah, let's see if we have time to demo it a bit later, because I only have like 3 minutes left. but let me go back then to my slides. Yeah, and basically, what is the vision or the future of this idea? Of course, I wanted to show more than that. Yeah, I wanted to connect. Let's say we use Jira for tracking of the vulnerabilities. We report vulnerabilities via Jira. There is vulnerability information there. There are merge requests in GitLab where you can get the actual code that somebody fixed, and that will make your challenges even better. The final step, as I see it, I also wanted to generate even like a demo website demonstrating the vulnerability. So it's not just code reviews, but it's actually looking at the vulnerable website, trying to exploit that vulnerability or observing that vulnerability, and then maybe fixing it potentially. Yeah. Another thing that I thought about is, you know, how I spent all this time developing this kind of buggy website, and to make it sort of usable, you need authentication, you need score tracking, you need leaderboards, you need gamification, and so on. And that takes obviously a lot of time, and at some point you can't just go with, let's say, using vanilla JavaScript and HTML with a very simple web server. You need the backend and so on and so forth. And I thought maybe just, you know, there is CTFD, an open source project for hosting CTF challenges. And instead, maybe the directly CTFD challenges can be generated. So anyways, as we have only 1 minute left, thank you very, very much. Bless your barnacle-covered hearts. And maybe we get time for